for Families.
I'm Tori.
I'm Jasmine.
I'm Lauren.
Top 5 tips from us on how you choose a family-friendly dive centre. Coming in at number 5, it's the dive experience of the club that you write to. So, does the club work with children? An ideal way of finding this out is asking the club, do they have bubble maker programs and seal maker programs? Meaning they work with children between the ages of 8 and 12, which will give you an idea that they have experience in certifying kids for junior open water level as well.
Tip number 4 is children diving equipment. Now make sure that your dive centre always have good equipment for children.
Yes, that's really important, that they have regulators that fit the child's mouth. And Lauren, what else is important?
Well, for example, when you're walking, let's say doing a shore dive, it's good for the children to have a smaller tank, because the tanks that grown-ups, as we say, they use 10-litre tanks, and that's pretty heavy for children. So it's good if they have, for example, 5-litre tanks that the children are a lot smaller, so the children can actually carry them, and a lot less heavy.
Yes, and regarding the buoyancy control device, the BCD, kids are a lot smaller frame, so they need some extra small sometimes, and make sure the dive centre has this equipment for the kids, and otherwise they will be uncomfortable when they're learning to dive.
Tip number 3 is beginner dive sites.
So does the dive centre have easy beginning dive sites for junior open water? What we mean by this is calm conditions, no currents, easy access to the dive, easy exit and entry to the dive.
Yeah.
Things like the shore dive, Lauren.
For shore dives, it's important that the child can get easily to the water without having to drag along your BCD and your tank on your back, because sometimes you have to kit up already before you're in the water, and then you have quite a distance to walk, and that's really uncomfortable for some children. So it's a lot easier to make sure that your dive centre is willing to let you kit up in the water, and that'd be a lot easier to do, isn't it?
Yes, and how about Jasmine?
Yeah, so when you're talking about boat dives or inflatable boats or rubber boats, it's important to know if they have a platform where children can stride off into the water with. If they don't, that means that children do need more experience, because that means you have to make a back roll into the water, and a lot of children are not comfortable with that yet.
Tip number 2. One-on-one ratios with children between dive master to child or instructor to child. This is what we recommend at Scuba for Families. Why? Because when you're diving with a child, they can easily lose concentration, so you need to pay really good attention to what's happening in the water with your child diving.
We definitely recommend this too, because children can very easily get overwhelmed with a lot of information that they get.
For me, I always go for a club that's smaller and more customer focused on personal attention, which means that you're more likely to have a one-on-one guide. If not, then maximum 2 to 1. And tip number 1 is customer service. What do we mean by that? When you do your initial research, you send an email with all the family-friendly key child questions, right? Then what you expect is an answer within a week maximum. Those dive centres that answer and give you a lot of detail to your questions are the ones to consider. The ones that don't answer, I immediately cross from our list.
Also, once you have gotten the email, don't be afraid to give them a call.
Great idea.
So you get some personal information as well.
Yeah, and you can actually relate to the person and discuss any issues you're worried about, and see if they have experience, because those ones that work a lot with children will be able to put your mind at ease, and you'll be able to tell immediately that they have experience with child divers.
You'll also be able to tell if they're friendly, if they're going to be good with kids, or if they're rude, and you definitely don't want to go with dive centres like that, do you?
No. So things to put in your email would be, how many certifications a year do they have with young divers? Things like ratios, very important, like I mentioned before. Do they offer one-on-one service with the child? What kind of training facilities do they have? Do they have a pool on site? Where is the nearest dive site? How long does it take to travel to the dive site? These are key questions. Also, first aid. Does the dive centre have a first aid box on the dive boat? Oxygen tanks, defibrillator in case something emergency happens. That's crucial, safety aspects. Hope you've liked our top 5 tips for how to choose a dive centre.
And don't forget to subscribe.
And hit that notification bell for any other videos.
See you next time, guys.
Bye.
Bye.